What's up, Tamers? It's Gino, and I'm here with another Monday Mulligan for you. What's the problem with Nature Spirits? If you haven't watched Varney's deck talk video about Nature Spirits, you really should. There's a lot of great insight there about the Nature Spirits deck, and I'd say it's got two main problems. One, it's not very consistent, and that's partially due to all the colors you need to do stuff with. And two, its game plan is pretty one note, right? You're trying to just run in and then get Leopardmon, right? Go Eldraddimon, DNA, Leopardmon. What if I told you you could play Nature Spirits in a new way? In a way that introduces Leopardmon. So as we know, Leopardmon is a really good green card, and this deck has been altered to be basically all green with a couple exceptions. And that's just to boost consistency, and we can use consistency tools that you could never use in Nature Spirits before. So let's get into the deck profile. No more blabbering. Our first piece, our egg, which is actually a consistency piece, is 4 copies of Gummymon. That's right, the old EX2 Gummymon. Your turn, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, draw a card. This is a great consistency piece because a lot of our Nature Spirits cards suspend a Digimon. And so this means that you're going to get yourself a card draw. So, Gummymon, great card for this deck profile. Next card we're looking at is, now this is a bit, here, hold on. Let's go straight into the searcher because you probably know what this is going to be. This is 4 copies of our Nature Spirit EX8 Tentomon. Dig top 3, add 1 Insectoid and 1 Nature Spirit trait to the hand. A lot of the time, this is going to double hit for you because we're running quite a few insects. Good searcher, your turn plus 2k, which is actually really valuable because a lot of the time we're going to end up suspending a Digimon and then swinging over to remove it. So you can play sort of board control when they slam down searchers, or if they leave a body on the board that they think that you can't deal with, you just suspend it and run over it. Because we can get DP pretty easily in this deck. Okay, so now this rookie is a bit of a point of contention. You could run the Tyrant Kabuterimon Tentomon that suspends something and then grant 3k. I think that's good, but then your last few choices, you might need to run Ukomons for your rookies. Instead, I'm going to go with something that has a little bit of anti-synergy, but is still a really good card. And I'll talk about the anti-synergy in just a second. This is 4 copies of BT14 Palmon. Palmon is great. Start of your main phase, one of your opponent's Digimon gains all turns. When this Digimon becomes suspended, lose 2 memory until the end of their turn. And then the anti-synergy is the inherited effect. When this Digimon would Digivolve, if you have a green tamer, reduce the cost by 1. We don't run a single green tamer in this deck. Now you could edit my my list here. These lists are not hard and fast, and as you know, the Monday Mulligan is always fun tier, right? And this is one of my favorite fun decks, honestly. But that plus 2 memory is really good, especially because we're running 3 copies. This is our last rookie of BT15 Palmon X. Again, we're never going to proc the inherited, which is when one of your green tamers is played, gain a memory. However, the on-play when Digivolving is to suspend a Digimon. So with the Palmon, you push up, you target a Digimon with its start of main effect, then you suspend it by Digivolving for free into Palmon X, and you gain 2 memory. So that means that you're going to be able to go into your 4 for free this turn, basically. It's just a really good play extender. I think Palmon is just a really good generic green rookie. And combined with Palmon X and the fact that we're going to be able to play level 3s and level 4s for free off of Leopardmon, which we'll see later, of course. I think Palmon X and Palmon are really good cards. Like I said, you could run the Tentomon, you could go run some Ukos then. But with what I've experimented with, I really like the Palmon and the Palmon X, especially because Palmon is such a dirty card. You can put it in your breeding area, and now you're telling your opponent, go ahead and raise because you're going to give me 2 memory next turn. So you can really play chicken while you play out your Tentomons and search, or some of your other consistency pieces. Let's move on to champions. We're running, this is a Nature Spirits deck, so 4 copies of the Monochromon. He has a vanilla on face, but he's a 1-cost Evo, which is very nice. You can turbo really fast in this deck. And he has Piercing as an inherit. He's a 4-drop, which is valuable for Leopardmon. And he's a Nature Spirit, which means Tentomon can grab him. And we are running a lot of Nature Spirits cards, but they are almost all green so that we get maximum consistency. Next champion we're running is 4 copies of Kabuterimon. On play or when digivolving, suspend something. So with the Palmon effect, this is the EX8 Nature Spirits Kabuterimon. With the BT14 Palmon, you can suspend when you evo into this. It makes your evo free if they had a body on board to suspend. And don't forget, your Gummymon is also going to draw you a card. So you push out. You push out with Palmon. You give one of their bodies lose 2 memory. You suspend it with Palmon X or Kabuteri. You gain 2 memory and a draw, which is really nice. And you're going to be drawing a lot thanks to Gummimon's effect. All right, and that's it for 4s. We're pretty low on 4s and 3s, honestly. And honestly, that's okay. You only really need to build 1 stack, and then you're going to be hard slamming 4s and 5s for basically free, thanks to how Leopardmon works, right? So let's take a look at our 5s. We're running 4 copies of EX8 Mega Kabuterimon. This card is really good. I love this card. He has Fortitude, and all turns while this Digimon is suspended, it gains plus 3k. He is also a Nature Spirit card, and he has the inherited effect of all turns when you delete something via battle, trash or top security, which is nice. It is all turns, and there are ways to gain blocker in this deck. Pretty solid card. A lot of the times you can push out your pal, evo, get your memory refund, go into Mega Kabu. If you're on top of Monochromon, you can swing Piercing over something, and then you get your security check, and if you die, you just Fortitude right back out, which is nice. So Mega Kabuterimon, really good for aggro in this deck. A lot of the times you're just swinging with this guy and you don't care what happens. You either swing over something, if they blast into you, whatever, unless it's not going to delete you. And if they don't, cool, you just removed a threat and you can pierce for a check maybe. Good card. I really love this Mega Kabuterimon. And then if you know your Nature Spirits cards, you know what this next level 5 is. This is 4 copies of Triceramon. Triceramon has on play when digivolving suspended Digimon, and that Digimon doesn't unsuspend. And then it has the same inherited effect as Mega Kabuteri, where if you delete a Digimon in battle, you trash top security. Pretty standard, pretty straightforward. The fact that it's on play is really good for playing off of Leopardmon and Leopardmon X. Again, we'll get to them soon. And yeah, it's a solid card. It locks things down for a turn. It's a Nature Spirit. Good card. Like I said, we're running all the green Nature Spirits, so that's what we're doing. Hold on, it kind of bugs me. Bugging, pun not intended. We gotta put Triceramon on top of Monocro and Mega Kabu on top of Kabuteri. There we go. I feel better now. All right, so that's it for the 5s. We're running as many 5s as we are 4s, but like I said, we're cheating them out a lot with 2 copies of Leopardmon, BT13 Leopardmon. This is a great card. Really just generically good green card. During your main phase or digivolving once per turn, you may play a green or Royal Knight traded card from your hand for its cost. And when you do so by that effect, reduce the cost by 4. So that means you're playing any of your 4s or any of your 3s for free. You get a suspend, maybe a draw off Gummy if you haven't done it yet this turn. And then when you play another Digimon, all of your green Digimon and Royal Knight trait Digimon gain blocker till the end of your turn. So a lot of the times, Nature Spirits likes to go wide, right? We all know this. But Leopardmon will basically be like, okay, we're going to go super wide and we're all going to be blockers. And that means they have to worry about this inherited effect from your level 5s. If you block with your Leopardmon, they tried to swing in early or whatever with something little, then you're going to trash their security. Pretty solid. But the real star of the show, of course, is 3 copies of Leopardmon X Antibody. This is just the better Leopardmon, honestly. Leopardmon, but cool. The cooler Leopardmon, with the sunglasses. On Evo, you may play a green Digimon card with play cost reduced by 4. If you have Leopardmon or X Antibody in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, further reduce it by 3. That means, besides Leopardmon, you're playing anything on this board for free if you have a Leopardmon or an X Antibody underneath this card. Really good. And then, also very good is, when one of your Digimon is played, you may return one of your opponent's 5k or lower Digimon to the hand. For each of your other Digimon, add 3k to the maximum DP this effect can choose. So if you have the memory to go into Leopardmon that turn, you go into your Leopardmon, you play a little guy, And then you go into Leopard X, you play another guy, probably a 5, right? And now you're bouncing, assuming that's all you had on the board at the start of your turn, you can bounce by default a 5. The thing he played out would be 8, and then the thing Leopard X played out would be 11. So you can bounce an 11, and if you still have memory for the turn, which you may, because like I said, we're going to run some memory boost pieces in here and stuff, right? You can just hard slam another thing to bounce a 14, which is pretty strong. And yeah, that's Leopardmon. So since we're going to be hard playing level 5s a lot, wouldn't it be nice if we had a couple of aces? How about Saber Leomon Ace? This is a really good card to blast Evo into, especially after your Leopardmon play. So you went into Leopardmon and you hard slammed the Tricera or the Mega Kabu off of either Leopardmon or Leopardmon X effect. This is now a great blast because now he's a blocker. Because whatever you played down gained blocker from Leopardmon's effect. So not only can Leopard X play this for free, if you have X Antibody or Leopardmon in source, but it synergizes really well because you're going to, on play, 2 of your opponent's suspended Digimon get neg 8k for the turn. So that synergizes really well with Leopard X because remember you bounce a 5k or lower and then add 3 for every body basically. Saber Leomon's gonna bump that by 8, and now boom, if they have a suspended Digimon on the board, you're gonna bounce it really easily with Leopard X. Saber Leomon's really good, and another thing that makes Saber Leomon really good in this deck, which we'll get to soon, is the Nature Spirits option card because it gives him Alliance, and now Saber Leo is not dying in security. You're going to Alliance with something, and if they have nothing suspended on the board, he unsuspends. And since you're building a really wide board with Leopard and Leopard X, you're probably going to get 4 checks that turn because you get another Alliance swing. Really good card. I'm going to slide him down because I want to talk about 3 copies of Eldraddimon. This card is less important than he's ever been with this build. Because yes, we are running Tlalokmons, and Tlalokmon, however, is just an alternate win con now. There's also something very sneaky you can do, which I'll talk about in a second. But first, let me tell you what Eldraddimon does if you're unfamiliar. He is a blocker on face, and he digivolves on a Nature Spirit level 5 for 3, so his color doesn't really matter. He can just go on top of Mega Kabu or Triceramon. So what he does is he's going to reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, and then play up to 7 play cost total worth of Nature Spirits traded Digimon cards among them without paying the cost. So if you hit Tentomon and 4, you can do that, or you can play the 5 or the Saber Leomon, depending on what you hit. Now, in a Nature Spirits deck, you were basically banking on hitting Saber Leomon Ace so that you could DNA. Well, what if I told you, if you go into Leopardmon X and then play your Mega Kabuterimon out, or your Triceramon for free, right? Then you pass turn by evolving into Eldraddimon, for example. He has the end of turn, 2 of your Digimon may digivolve into a Nature Spirits trait card in the hand. Tlalokmon, who we'll talk about very soon, digivolves from a green and a black, which means you can use the Leopard X to get your DNA. And that's really strong. And because of how many bodies you're going to be constantly spitting out, sometimes you just digivolve into Tlalok for the full cost and just say, I'm going to neg you 1 billion DP, right? 1 copy of this is kind of the elephant in the room. You probably know what card this is going to be because it synergizes extremely well with Leopardmon and Leopardmon's effects, especially when you're board swarming. You can trade this card out for something a little cheaper if you don't got one. I get it. Listen, I only pulled one myself, so I have to shuffle them around every deck I play. It's Medieval Gallantmon, right? Alliance Vortex. When he would be played by suspending 2 Digimon, reduce the play cost by 4, so he's dropping for 7, which means that's free off of a Leopard X with the Leopard underneath. On Evo, you suspend a Digimon, then you delete a Digimon with 8k DP or less. For each other suspended Digimon, add 3k DP to this Digimon's deletion effects maximum. Between him and Leopard X, dude, you're bouncing and deleting everything. Very strong card. If you have more of them, go up on them, honestly, probably. But generally, when I make these fun decks, they're usually on the cheaper side. So if you don't have a Medieval Gallantmon, you can easily run another copy of Eldrazi or Saber Leomon, depending on your tastes. But obviously, we know Medieval Gallantmon is a great card, and you can't really get away from him, right? Okay, then 3 copies. You could probably drop this to 2, honestly, but I like 3 for Tlalokmon. 3 Tlalokmons. He does on Evo. You may play a play cost 7 or lower Digimon with the Nature Spirit card from your hand without paying the cost. If DNA Digivolving, you may play 2 such Digimon with different colors. That's never going to happen because we don't run, unless, I guess you could play Saber Leo off of it. So the only way you're going to get 2 is if you have a Saber Leo in your hand, so you're going to play Saber Leo and one of your 5s. But for that reason, the reason why we're not going to be playing 2 bodies out most of the time with this effect means that hard Evo for 6 is not bad, because negging 7 on Digivolve for every body you have on the board is really strong. So, and this is how you answer like a deck like Gallantmon, right? You can just be like, okay, I built my Leopard X stack. I got 2 bodies on the board. I'm going to Evo into Tlalokmon, play a 3rd. And we're going to neg you 21,000 and pass turn because it costs 6 for me to Evo, right? So Tlalok, really strong. You can use it for the surprise Evo to get a final swing for game. Like I said, Eldrazi can DNA with any of these cards here because they're green. So you can really do the Leopardmon. The real sneaky play, like I said earlier, is Leopardmon, play the 5, Evo Eldrazi, and then end of turn DNA on the Tlalok if you want to play it like that, and you absolutely can. Tlalokmon, awesome boss monster, really cool Digimon. I love that little guy. Okay, that is all of the Digimon in the deck. Let's talk about our option cards. We are playing 3 copies of Nature Spirits. While you have no face-up security cards, you may ignore this card's color requirements. So when you play it, you add your bottom security to hand, and then it gets slotted in face up. Then all of your Nature Spirits cards gain Alliance. You're going to be alliancing a lot in this deck, and Leopardmon kind of just serves as, I'm going to spit bodies, and I'm only going to swing if I'm swinging over another body, thanks to Mega Kabu's effect. So like you go into Leopardmon, right? You play out the Kabuterimon or the Palmon X, suspend something, and then swing over and get your security trash, which is nice. Or he's the card that you're alliancing with your other guys, right? Nature Spirits, good card, solid. 3 is the perfect number. Security effect, you play a level 5 or lower Digimon with the Nature Spirits trait from your hand without paying the cost. Your main target is going to be Triceramon because you're going to suspend something and lock it down, which is nice. And then it also sets up for the Saber Leo Ace if you have it in hand. And then, since we are basically all green except Eldrazi, so you probably don't want to play these cards if you don't have an Eldrazi in your hand. Like if you have the option to play Tentomon instead, maybe you go Tentomon until you find an Eldrazi. But everything else can be found with 3 copies of Agility Training or 2 copies of Green Memory Boost, right? These are your consistency pieces. We know what they do. Agility, flip 2, grab a green, anything, meaning you can grab Nature Spirits if you want, or another Agility Training or Green Memory Boost. Green Memory Boost, of course, reveal top 4, grab a green Digimon, bottom deck the rest, and then delay later to gain 2 memory. And remember, agility delays later to reduce your next Evo cost by 2. You do have to Digivolve a green Digimon. One of your Digimon may Digivolve into a green Digimon, so you can't use it to go into Eldrazi, so keep that in mind. That's the only time Agility Training won't work for you. But everything else is green, so you can do it that way. And then this is the final expensive-ish card in the deck. If you don't have this, you could probably run some other stuff. I'll talk about that in a second. This is 1 copy of X Antibody Protoform. This is essentially your 3rd Leopardmon source. It makes your Leopardmon X cost 1 less. Put Protoform up here, I guess. It makes your Leopardmon cost 1 less, Leopardmon X, and it gives you the effect. If you don't have an X Antibody Protoform, because again, I try to keep these profiles budget when I can, you could run BT9X Antibody. Well, I'm sure that's kind of been going up in price lately, but much cheaper than Protoform, right? Or you could just opt for a 3rd Leopardmon, right? It means that you have to find the Leopardmon. You can't just have Protoform, which is a little bit of a bummer, but yeah. So this is Leopard Spirits. Like I said, you have a number of play lines now instead of just I need to go Eldrazi then Tlaloc. Now you can swarm the board, use Leopardmon to control the board. You get lots of draw with Gummymon. You're always suspending and swinging over things and possibly trashing security depending on if you have your 6 out. You gain blocker on everything if you want to. It all depends on how you utilize the regular Leopardmon. And I'm not going to say this is a strong deck, but it can definitely compete. And I've definitely stolen some wins from other strong decks in the meta right now with this deck. It's really fun. It will definitely take your opponent by surprise. And there's a lot of silly stuff you can do with that. So, with all that being said, this is Leopard Spirits. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Monday Mulligan, and I will catch you guys all on the next one. Have a good one.